Okay, hi again. So I just finished writing in all of my drill for set 1. The only ones that I'm missing are 3E and F. So I have to go onto the back side for them. But it's going to be the exact same as, or it's just one more line. But from now on, you should be able to fit majority of it in. So this is what it looks like. You can tell that I filled up the entire page, but that's exactly what you want. So the goal is to fill up the entire page with everything. You do not want to be going on to multiple things or having all of your sets on different pages. You want one movement on one set. So that way you can just flip the page and then you go to set 2, right? It's just very, very quick, very easy. That's the whole point of this. So now that we have finished going over this, I will go over it one more time just in case you missed it. But this is going to be your set number, so you should just be rewriting all of this. So set and count should be the exact same. The only things that you're slightly changing are hash line and side because it's a little different than how it was printed out. So when writing side, remember that side 1 is going to be your left and side 2 is going to be your right. And inside is going to be towards the 50, outside is going to be this way. So I drew little arrows. I don't know if you can kind of see this, but I drew a bunch of little arrows just to tell me which direction I'm facing in case I ever forget. And then hash line, you're either going to be behind or in front of the hash line. So in front or behind, and then however many steps, or you'll be on the actual hash. So once you have filled that all in, it should look something like this. Might look a little crazy, but as long as you can read it and understand it, that's the whole point, and that's okay. So next thing that I want to do is, this is where your drawing skills are going to come in handy. So what I want you to do is, now that you've kind of filled in this page, go ahead and flip to this blank side, and then go ahead and just make it so that way you're able to write on it. So I'm going to be flipping mine just like this, so that way I can write on it easily. So we only go to the 30-yard line, which means that in your drawing, you don't have to go past the 30 line. You might want to leave a little extra space if you're right on the 30, but you're either 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and etc. on the other side too. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a picture that looks exactly like this, but we're not going to draw the other dots. So what I want you to do is just really quickly grab one of your sheets and just try to copy it as much as possible. So you know that there's going to be at the very bottom. So we know that we go all the way from 30 to 30. So you can write that at the very bottom here. So 30 down here. And then we know we can do a 30 here. Then go ahead and write that same thing up here, almost like you're writing it on a dollar bill. You want that same sort of repetition. So it's going to look something like this. You should have 30s in all 4 corners. Then we know that right smack bad in the middle is going to be the 50-yard line. So go ahead and write the 50 there. Then what's going to happen from here is you have to write all of these lines. So we know that in between the 50 and the 30 is going to be 40. So go ahead and write a 40, 40, 40, and another 40. Then in between all of those little bit itty bitty spaces, you're going to have the 5s. So we're going to put a 35. We're going to put a 45. We're going to put a 45 again. And we're going to put a 35. Because you start at a 10 until you go up to 50, and then it goes back down again. So it's almost like in math when you have when you hit the highest point on your graph, and then you have to go back down again. It's exactly like that. So we're just filling in those 5 numbers, 45 and 35. Okay. So now your field should look something like this. It's going to look a little chaotic, but that's okay. It's a tiny little thing. What you're going to do is draw lines exactly in between your 2 numbers. So all of your numbers are going to be 2 numbers. There's never going to be a time when you only have 1 number because we're not that big of a band. So go ahead and draw as straight of a line as you can in between all of the numbers. So we're going from 30 to 30, 35 to 35, 40 to 40. Think about it like this. I don't know if anybody ever did this in math, but if you ever had to like separate out your numbers, I know that we did this a lot with decimals at my old middle school. And this is not going to look perfect. I'm in no way an artist, so this is not going to look pretty, and it doesn't have to be. So this is what your field should now look like. You should now have a bunch of numbers and a line and then another number. So once you have your field all set up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put every single dot mark that you have. So what I would do is recommend grabbing another marker, pick like one signature color for you. So for me, I've been liking using a bright red color just because that's our school colors. So I'm gonna go in with this bright, almost like a pinky red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a dot every single area that I am. So go ahead and find what you're looking for. You're looking for everything starting from the very, very first. Okay, so this is C, this is E, this is 1A. So that means that this is going to be set 1. So that's where we start. So for set 1, go ahead and find where you stand. So for me, and if you're a little bit, because I know that there's a space, yeah, it's a little odd, but for me, I'm standing right here. And you can just put a little dot. And guess what? You are only putting your dot. So we have the rest of the band's dots here. Ignore that. Totally ignore that. Put wherever you are moving from. This is going to help you a lot. Just trust me. Just wait for it. So for 1, go ahead and put your dot and then however long you stay there. So I stay there. Let's see. My pages are all out of order here. So this is 1B. So I'm still the only one there. Then I'm still there at 2. Then once we get to 3, okay, so then 2A, then I'm going to go here. Then for this part, I'm going to be behind the 50. So sorry, I'm kind of talking out loud right here. Then from 45. The 3A, then we start dispersing. Okay, that's the very last one. Once I get here, oh, okay. Okay, then we got this one. Then from here, I stay on the 50. Okay, so this is the path that I make. I make all these little red dots. So I go from here to here to here. Then I go from here. Then I go from this one, and then I move back in. Okay, so that is my movement 1. From here, what I would recommend doing is grabbing a light pencil. So if you were drawing everything in pen, if you were drawing everything in pencil, go over it with pen, because now it's official. Then what I would do is draw your paths. Okay, so it's gonna kind of look like a little constellation, but now you can see clearly, okay, I'm gonna go here. This is the path that I take. Now you have your corresponding chart to go with it. So if you're looking at it this way, I'm all flipped around. So if you're looking at it this way, now you have picture representation and you have your actual drill coordinates. This is going to be very, very helpful. So I recommend that you do this for all of your current drill sheets that you have and that you're able to do. I know that this is super last minute considering that we're going to need them for practice tomorrow, but hopefully this will kind of clarify and help since Mr. Roberson wasn't able to kind of go over this in class with us yet. And hopefully he can kind of clarify this either at tomorrow's practice or in the future classes. But hopefully this is enough to get you your drill book, because otherwise you're just going to be carrying around your drill sheets, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine for the time being, but it's nice to have this all in one spot, especially when we're going really, really quickly doing full runs. If you forget, it's really, really nice to have this and to be like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. If you really get lost, this is going to be a lot more helpful than digging through a bunch of drill sheets. So at some point I would recommend putting everything in here now that you know how to kind of put everything in there. But for now, that is all that I have. Hopefully that answered some questions. If you have any more questions about drill books, go ahead and put them in the comments box below. I'll try to answer them as much as possible. Otherwise, have a good night.